Oh, I need to open the map. That's what I need to do.
We should be live right now.
Are we live?
Uh,
Great.
Supposedly yes. So good morning or afternoon wherever you may be, and thank you for joining me and Luke Travers here.
Oh, not yet. I don't think
No,
we're live yet.
I think there's a bit of a delay.
Okay. I see. This is what I have on the.
So are we not live? Oh, I think we are
Oh,
live.
there is a delay. So we are live. Sorry, I just messed things up.
Okay. Anyway, so let's start again. Hello and welcome to the second iteration of the Dead Artist Society's live. My name is Jonathan Don. I'm joined by the great Luke Travers, the number one art appreciator in the world, here joining me on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. Here for you, it's morning to talk about a man who died hundreds of years ago.
Not
Um,
that. No, not that long. Maybe what,
a hundred and some,
160?
yeah,
Not hundreds. 160 years ago. Yeah.
almost 200 years ago.
Okay.
He was a Frenchman, so some of
Ah, dead Frenchman.
some of the viewers know my views on dead Frenchmen, but
What about
this
living
one
ones? What about living ones? Do you like living
they
Frenchmen?
they might be even lower. But
What?
no, of course there are many great French people in the world, and Eugène Delacroix is one of them. Was one of them. He was a real revolutionary in the movement that we know now as romanticism, visual arts romanticism. Is different, I think, look from romanticism than what Rand talked about in the Romantic Manifesto. So if the questions rise, I think it'll be interesting to address that. But I like to call it 19th century romanticism, and we will see some of the attributes in the painting that I will present here to you, Luke. And what will follow is a reading, an art reading, to see what we can gather from this painting. I have a look here will help to extract as much as possible. I think, look, what you're doing with your tours, and you extract the all the hidden minerals inside of the painting. You synthesize them. You bring them out of the ground for us all to enjoy,
That's going
and
to be the next book. It's going to be extracting from the art. So that there you
extracting from.
go.
They're
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. So I and then after you share, I haven't seen this painting that you're going to share with me. After that,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to share with you a Delacroix painting that I really like that
Indeed.
I'm going to surprise you with.
Okay.
And then we'll maybe extract from both of them together, the synthetic extraction. Now, here questions for you. So last time we did the Caspar David Friedrich.
Correct.
Um, and you were explaining to me a little bit before we started about why you picked Delacroix.
Mm-hmm.
And can you tell us why you decided on Eugène Delacroix as the artist for this session?
Yeah. I think we have already started with the theme of 19th century romanticism, and Friedrich, I think, was the most foundational painter of that period, especially when it comes to landscapes. And he was the most influential German painter of um, this century. So I thought it would be very appropriate to now turn to the French, who have also been very influential, very important in art history.
You happen to have the painting from that you did last time, kind of as a quick reminder?
Yes, sir, I do. So let us have a look so we remember previously on Dead Artist Society. So this is what we have.
Yeah, boy, that was so still and gloomy and staring out into the void. It's such a chilling painting.
It is. It's probably the coldest. I remember you showed me in our podcast, Luke, when we did the art discourse episode. You remember you showed me that Homer Winslow painting, also in the snow. You remember
Oh
that?
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
showed me, and I was like, this is so cold. I
Yeah.
think this one gets even colder.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we shall turn to Delacroix. Let me
I have
find
a
it.
suspicion that Delacroix is not going to be as cold.
It is not as cold.
Okay, so this is the painting. All right,
Yes.
my initial title is Horse Battle. Uh,
Before I give mine, the chat, if you want to participate in the initial title, go ahead and write down what is your initial title in the chat. My initial title would be, uh, yeah, horse battle, um, duel on horses. Not duel. It's like the horse fight, the cavalry, the something like that.
yeah, okay. So this is wild and crazy. I see not just a fight between what looks like maybe Middle Eastern or North African garbed soldiers, but
Yeah.
very fancily dressed.
Mm-hmm.
And they are one has a sword pointed at the opponent, the other one is raising some kind of looks like a mace or something. And then there's somebody on the ground too who's is he trying to cut the horse's leg with a dagger as he stumbled over? It looks like he's bloodied as well. And
Yeah.
they're kind of in the mountains and it's misty outside. And I can imagine if I push play in the scene that these horses are kind of twirling around each other as the men are swinging their swords or their weapons, and at some point somebody's going to fall. But right now it's kind of in the middle of the clash.
Mm. Yeah. We're,
Okay.
we're, we're right in the middle of it, and this point is interesting. The middle is unique to Romanticism. Before Romanticism, we had Neoclassicalism, and we remember, for example, a very famous example is the Death of Marat by Jacques Louis David, where you see the aftermath of an assassination. You see the dead body lying. You don't see the assassination. You see what happened before. So that was a theme before Romanticism of capture. Let's capture the aftermath of the great thing that has occurred, the dramatic
Okay,
thing.
so you're saying that if Jacques-Louis David were to paint a scene, paint this scene or paint a moment in the story of these two warriors, he would pick the aftermath where they're lying dead on the ground
Yeah,
and
yeah,
not the middle of the battle at the height of the battle that we're seeing here.
yeah. That is the difference with Delacroix and with Jericho, who came before him. They were all about the the hit of the moment, the most dramatic. If they could pick, on the scale of dramatic from least dramatic to most dramatic, there wouldn't have been a balance. They would have chosen the most dramatic frame possible. That not stuffing it just a bit before that. That is what they saw, I think, as
Okay,
the
so
yeah.
I want to go come back to the painting a little bit more and see what's going on. Can you zoom in a little bit because I'm very curious to see their
Yes.
faces, what their expressions are, and it's really hard to tell. Is there? Okay, I'm seeing maybe a little bit of determination. He's got his lowered head. The horses are
It's
so
very
fancy.
determined.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
You
there's
see
red in
that?
his eye.
You see the red, yeah.
Okay, and but we just see him and he's wrapped up and he's just staring daggers. Okay.
Yeah.
And
And you can see this the expression on this guy is also very very dramatic. The the way he holds the dagger is ready to attack. What else can you see? You can look at the guys over here.
has their hand poised to take action. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
and if you push play, there's going to be everybody's doing a swinging motion.
Right, right. Yeah, it's all about movement. This is another theme on many of Delacroix paintings.
Okay.
This is about movement. You could, if we think about the famous liberty leading the people, right? With the French flag, the Revolution painting. That's the most famous Delacroix. It's all about movement. It's about a revolution sweeping through Paris, It's not about Napoleon standing perfectly on his horse, like Jacques Louis David did before that. It's
Okay.
about the
Okay.
heat of the moment. We go
All
back
right.
to
Well, let
the
me ask you a
moment now.
personal question, Jonathan.
Yes.
If you had to pick one of these two, or any of these characters to empathize with, to
Hmm.
personally connect to say, I've been in a moment like this, which one do you
Yeah.
pick?
Wow. It's a
And while
tough
you're thinking
question.
about that, I've got, looks like Serena put down a couple of initial titles in the chat. A plague on both your horses and hold your horses. Okay.
Yeah, I like that. I like the plague on both your horses. Interesting comment on the plague, if I may interject before I say who I sympathize with. The color, the green kind of tone that we see, the green, browns, gold tones, and especially the green on the face of this guy on the left, they do convey a sense of sickness here, I think.
I can see that. Yeah,
Okay,
the thing that
so
attracts me though, there's a kind of, it's kind of like a grayish greenish tone to a lot of it.
yeah,
And then you've got the reds and the golds that really pop out. Okay.
yeah,
All right.
which is
So
yeah, who I sympathize with, So I think I should sympathize with the person on the left, but when was I in a situation like that?
when were you in a situation when you are in the middle of a confrontation with someone else, in the middle of a heated confrontation with
Hmm.
I mean,
I
how many
think
fights have you gotten into?
not
How about
not
when you were a
many.
kid? Did you get in fights when you were a kid?
Very rarely. I was
Oh, I'm gonna
very
shout out Michael Noble. Michael Noble and I got into a fight once. Oh, and there was Joey as well. And then uh who else did I get in a fight with? Edric Rankins. Oh, good. High sixth grade, seventh grade. I got in fights. And so what I'm seeing here is like this is like the action of the fight going
yeah, yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
I
and you
would
know
like
what?
to be actually look. I think I'm
Yeah.
the person lying on the floor with
You were the one
with the knife.
sneaking
Yeah,
around the
I
back
think
and
so.
like stabbing from behind.
I think so. Yeah,
Like
I think so.
I don't know, like Frodo Baggins, like
I
with
wouldn't
the
jump.
like
I
the
wouldn't
Hobbit
jump
who's like coming
into
up
the.
behind.
Yeah, I don't think I would have jumped into the middle of the battle like that. I would try to participate. Like when we played football in class, I was
Yeah.
goalkeeper. I was an excellent
Uh,
goalkeeper, by the way.
yeah.
But I was always, I was sometimes, you go, when you play defense or you would go further in down the field. But I like to have my space, my safe. This is my area, and I'm keeping it. I'm defending this great, valuable thing. So that would resonate more, I think, with the person on the floor there.
Okay, I see what you're saying. And you know what? I really like that you're making a sports analogy. And I think that's when I think about how to personally connect to an artwork, often it's really valuable to try to think of, I play soccer and or have played soccer and other sports, to think of those because those are like microcosms of life where you get concentrated conflict immediately and you get a wide range of life experiences packed into to some really concrete moments. And here this is like, what was it? The Euros are going on. This is like a
Right.
midfield battle in the Euros, and you've got,
Oh yeah. Oh
Adrian
yeah.
Rabiot
This is
versus
the
yeah,
final. Yeah,
exactly.
this is, and you can see why on the right, right. If we look on this side a bit, you can
Oh, what?
see. Look at this horse over here. Oh, oops.
Wait, there's another
Change
horse?
painting.
Oh.
No, no. Yeah, can you see that
No, I don't see. Where do you see another horse?
on here on the
Oh,
right?
oh,
You see that?
okay, there's more to the battle going on in the background over
Oh
there.
yeah, you
I
see the
see.
people
There's like a
here.
charge.
There's a
And
charge. There are people
then there's
crushing.
that figure right there. What
It's
is happening to him? He's raising his hands up like he's giving up. Don't hurt me.
I think what Delacroix is trying to portray here is that there are more horses. You could look at the black. This is very interesting. Look at the black here of the hair of this horse, how it fades into the distance. You see that?
It's
Maybe
I can
maybe
imagine
there's a
it kind
line.
of sweeping and moving and blending in and with the dust. There's so much
Look how
commotion in this scene.
expressive this is. Yes, look at that is.
Oh, I didn't even notice the horse's eye.
Look at the
The
eye.
horse's
Wow.
eye is
Yeah.
redder than the guy's eye on the left.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Okay. So emotions are running high. The action is intense and it is kind of in the at the apogee at the highest moment. And
Mhm.
the first painting that you showed from Caspar David Friedrich, what was it that we're describing about that?
It was virtually the opposite. It was solace, alone, in the cold, in the woods with nobody else. Just you and some dead trees. And here we have lots of people fighting. We have death. We have actual death. We talked about death with the previous painting, how it was dangerous, how this guy will probably not survive the scene. But here we actually have people dying,
Okay.
and they're
So
dying
what's the title of
fast.
this painting? What's the title? Is there a background story?
The background is Delacroix. He went to Morocco and northern Africa, Algiers as well, were controlled by the French, and he captured scenes from there. These are not live scenes, of course, but he captured some ideas. He saw these fancy horsemen and with like royalty, like soldiers of the king or whatever, and I think it's an imaginary scene. Although I have to say
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure actually.
Okay.
If somebody
So
in the
it's not
chat
it's
knows,
maybe not a particular battle, but just something that he kind of conjured up for himself that you know what, if I'm going to paint the people that I see in North Africa, I'm going to paint them in the middle of a fight rather than just kind of sitting around and looking or going about their daily life, and definitely
I
not
think
just staring out
so.
into the desert of the void.
I think so, but I would like to double check this
Okay.
because they should have provided more background. I just, you know what I do look. I look for interesting paintings. I go to Wiki Comments. That's a tip for all the audience. If you want to find high quality images of paintings, go to Wiki Commons and type the name of the artist. You will find virtually all the files that Wikipedia has, and which means they're free. You can download them at a high resolution. Um, where
So
is
what
it?
made you pick this one?
I picked it because I think I picked it for a similar reason that Delacroix painted it and went to see these exotic scenes. It's unusual, it's oriental, therefore it evokes a sense of mystique. It's a different world, we're not familiar with it. It's and it's I think it has a lot of beauty. The especially the gold, the ornaments, the way they're dressed. Look at the detail that Delacroix captures here with the eyes. We see the red eyes. How many red eyes we have here? Yeah, here as well. Look at the eye. They're all like that. That's another thing that has to do with the drama effect. It's all
So
heightened drama.
Jonathan, I don't understand you. I don't understand you. I'm trying to understand you, and on the one hand,
Yeah,
you say you love Caspar David Friedrich, and you have this figure who's kind of just contemplating the middle of in the middle of nowhere. It's cold, it's still,
yeah,
it's very melancholically serene,
right.
and then you like this one,
Yeah, that's
and
a good question.
it's wild and crazy and action filled.
Mm-hmm.
So why? Who are you, Jonathan? Why do you like
Well,
both? What do they have in common for you?
But they both have something in common where they deal with the abstract. They deal with um, it's a more fundamental view of life. It's more it's not about capturing all the details. It's not about capturing. It doesn't show you all the horses. It doesn't show you all the scenes. He shows you two cavalrymen fighting each other. There are others here. There's a big scene. It's like a part of a big battle. But he focuses on these two because they are important. They tell a story that Delacroix liked. And this selectivity, this focus, that he abstracts away everything else, and he talks about perhaps more general ideas on perhaps he's making a commentary about the state of men and how they always fight and men are he has another very famous painting with the king. You know the it's in Boston, I think, in Philadelphia, where the king that lies in bed and everybody's killing each other. You know that one?
Oh, you might be anticipating a painting I'm going to show you.
Perhaps, yeah, perhaps that's the next one. Anyway, that I like that because it's exciting, it's dramatic, it's it gives you energy. It's like watching an action film, but it's not it's not shallow. It has
All right.
it has level of sophistication that you don't find on um, most paintings that depict battle scenes. It goes to very again. Look at
I'll
the
agree with that. The details, the intensity, the movement.
the movement.
I
Yeah,
see that all, but I gotta say something, Jonathan.
yeah.
I was excited that you picked Eugène Delacroix as the
Uh huh.
painter. And the reason I was excited is because I've never really liked Eugène Delacroix. And
Okay.
I relished the opportunity to spend some time with him to get to know him a little bit better.
Okay.
So because I have felt like it's kind of shallow.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I asked you the question, how do you personally connect to him? I thought, okay, all right, this is like the middle of the action. Now, what are the stakes here? What matters? I think interesting that this is not a particular scene. It's just action.
Right.
It's not a particular battle where these are characters that are fighting for life and death, or there's something at stake. It's the focus is on the action rather than the
Mm-hmm.
drama.
Mm-hmm. The action, yeah. So it's like you're saying it's like Michael Bay.
Yeah, yeah. It's like Michael Bay. Let's have some explosions. That's a great movie analogy. I like that a lot. Yeah, yeah.
Well,
It's the substance is not in the story.
consider that there was no Michael Bay before Delacroix, and perhaps there couldn't have been one. So you can say maybe it was a negative influence. But I agree with you. There's a lot of drama, and unlike Friedrich, we don't see this level of metaphysical commentary that we discussed previously, right? However, I do appreciate the originality, the innovation, the approach to brush. Again, look at the way he paints the hair of the horse. There was nothing like that until Delacroix. So I appreciate that. I see that well, and one could argue it's a negative influence on the later impressionists and then the expressionists that destroyed art as art history progressed, and I discussed it in a recent essay. But the approach is original, and I appreciate that. I find it exciting. If you find it in a museum, you say, okay, that's cool. Look how he captured the battle, a dramatic scene, how he captured movement in a still frame, right? There is no movement in a painting. Still, he managed to make it feel moving. And I'm not sure about the Oriental thing. I'm not sure what's the deal with that. It's just interesting. It's just something different. So
Can I ask you two more questions here?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. One is looking at immersing ourselves in the scene and what's happening in the story. Who are you rooting for? Who do you want to win?
I think we want this guy to win on the left
Now, what do you see that makes you say that?
because we see his face. You don't see the face of this guy, so what do you care?
Okay. Okay. So just the simple fact is, okay,
And this
you
guy
have a better
here,
understanding.
this
Yeah.
guy here is also attacking this guy. If I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, they're both on him. Or is he like who is attacking who actually? Maybe you can tell me that.
That's a great question, and I think that might be even part of the purpose here. Now, my next question: who's going to win? Who's going to win this battle?
I think they all die eventually.
Oh, you know what? That might be a good transition to the painting I want to show you.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you ready?
I'm ready. Yes. Should
Oh,
I?
anything more about this one?
Anything from the audience? We have 7 people live watching. Nothing. You're all at awe. I think again the color needs to be mentioned. I think again the color, is really interesting. The way he captures the sky as well, the blues, the the the, the type of smooth brush strokes. Everything is so smooth, right? And I would also mention the composition. The it's we have two sides, right? It's split down the middle between these two guys, and but it is asymmetrical because here you have more things going on the right, and the mountain here also pushes your movement that way. You go from here to there, and I think a common thing with these types of artists, the Delacroix and Jericho. They go like that. Your eye is going through the whole scene. You're not fixated on just one point. You wanna look at this guy and you're okay. Well, what's here? What's going on here? What's going on there? You see the shape of the sword. You look at his arm, and then you see the blade, and then there's another blade. So it goes like that, and it points you back to the horse. And then you go back to the horse.
It's moving
and,
all over the place. If I let my eyes lead, I'm just gonna go in a tornado.
Exactly. So that's
Okay.
something I also appreciate about
Yeah.
that. Okay, you wanna let us proceed? So
All right.
I need to find your painting.
Okay, I've got it here. I'm ready.
Yo, you will.
I'm gonna share
okay.
my screen. Yeah, I'll share my
Yeah,
screen.
Go ahead.
Okay, here it is. Okay, let's see what it is. All right.
Yeah.
What's your initial title? Are you calling it the King?
I will call it The Orgy of Death.
Maybe that should just been the title of the episode, and we'll get all kinds of views on this. The Orgy of Death. The
Perhaps,
Orgy of
yeah.
Death. So in the audience, if you have an initial title, feel free to share that.
Yes,
The Orgy of
please.
Death. So tell me what you're seeing in the scene. What do you see happening? Describe to us. Tell us a story, Jonathan.
Well, it's a story about a king whose
No,
name
no,
I
no. I don't
forgot.
want to hear the background story. I want to hear what you're seeing in the scene. What do you see going on?
Well, the truly striking thing about this scene is the sheer apathy of the king lying on the bed. You see all these things
Apathy
happening.
of the king. Oh.
Yeah, he's completely detached from his surroundings. What we're seeing here is the end scene of a great movie about this king's life, right? We've seen all the horrors that he's been through, and now everybody's coming to get him. They're coming to get each other, and he's done. So he's just whatever.
Wait, what do you mean they're coming to get him? What are you seeing going on? You're kind of speaking vaguely about what the background story, but I want to know what are the details that you're seeing in the scene.
Yeah,
Give us
so
some drama.
Yeah, you're right. Let's stay objective here. So we have a horse, for example, which is interesting. On the left, we see another horse.
Oh,
Delacroix was
yeah.
interested in horses,
It's almost as nicely decorated as the other horses, isn't it? Or even more so.
perhaps even more so. Yeah, the horse is being drawn with a string by this gentleman of black color, which is unusual. Maybe he had a lower position in the king's service. We had other of his slaves on the left. You see that as well. You see perhaps his mistresses. One is right above the man who's pulling the king. You see another one covering her head. Why does she cover her head? Look. Why do you think that is? That's an interesting detail.
Wait, where is she covering her head?
Do you see the woman right below the king?
Right here?
No, just a bit to the left. This woman, she covers her head.
Okay. Oh, I mean, she must be frightened. She doesn't want to see what's going on.
She doesn't want to see what's going on. You look at the jewelry on that woman, the woman lying on the bed. She's clearly of
Okay.
royalty.
Yeah, so these are not poor people.
These are not poor people. And this bed is so extravagant. Look at the elephants. That are
golden elephants.
Golden elephants.
Like bed corners. Okay.
Not everybody
All right,
has,
I've got a few
has that kind of ornaments.
I have that in my room. Absolutely.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, they're tigers instead of elephants, but yes. Very fancy, ornately fancy. Okay, can you point out maybe 3 more details of fanciness? Just extravagance?
Extravagance. Well, look at the what's it called? The golden what is it? A pot? It's not a pot. It's on the left. It must have some wine in it.
Oh yeah. Who's being served wine? He's got a servant there with the pitcher, the golden pitcher with the golden cup.
Yeah, and look at the servants. They're also a bit nonchalant about this. This is like just another weekend.
Give me more luxury. What more luxury? More luxury.
Well, look at the fruit. Look at the
fruit
on the yeah. Go below. Go to the bottom. Zoom in a bit. Go just below the elephant. Look at that. You see, these are pearls. Sorry. Look at the pearls.
Oh yeah. They kind of look like grapes, but you're right. That's a bunch of jewelry.
Yeah, just lying around these pearls. What else do we have? We have is that a big sword? Yeah, the black sword looks very good. Looks rather pricey. The arrows, we can also see the arrows. They have like a pocket, which is like golden
the
pocket
quiver, golden quiver.
A golden quiver.
Okay.
There was a funny title, a royal flop.
A royal flop. Yeah, everybody's flopping around royally. And then God's brothel.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great initial title. And then Clash of the Cultures. Interesting.
That is like the culture wars. Yeah, that is like the culture wars.
Okay, so to sum up so far what you've been describing, they're in the bedroom of apparently a king, somebody who's really well off. There are naked women who are in distress, beautiful naked women in distress, surrounded by all kinds of luxury, just thrown all over the place.
And the men are killing them.
And men are killing them. Where are you seeing killing going on?
Well, you see on the right side, you see this man just with a sword attacking the woman, stabbing the woman with the sword.
Okay, right here.
Yeah, that could be a wonderful sculpture.
And plunging a dagger into the nape of her, not the nape of her neck, but the front, like the clavicle, like that part of the neck where it's the softest, right above the sternum.
Yeah, looks uncomfortable.
And if you push play, it's like gonna go right down into her.
Yeah.
This is horrific.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Why did you choose this painting?
You chose this painting.
Oh, I'm sorry, I did. Okay. All right. So you alluded. Well. So there's a lot going on here, right? I mean, this scene is just filled with anguish, and it's like the horse battle that you showed us. It's right in the middle of it all. We got lots of scenes, lots of little vignettes of. There's going to be some kind of striking or hurting or hurling or flinging going on. You got that man with the horse, looks like he's pulling in. The horse is going to rear back, and then It looks like there are other people flailing their arms around, and
Ah,
and then on the all in the middle of this, you've got the king, the sultan, who's dressed in these white robes, just leaning back as if he could be, I don't know, contemplating a dream.
right.
Okay. Now there's something else that we haven't noticed.
Oh, there
And
is
sometimes,
I think at the top part we haven't discussed.
yeah, what's going on in the top part over here?
Well, there's more killing. Perhaps this woman is returning the fight for this against this guy. Um,
So there's another scene of somebody who looks like they're about to kill beautiful women. One seems to have her hands tied up.
yeah.
The other one is reclining back. Maybe she's in distress. There's so much screaming going on
Oh yeah, it's a
here.
loud. It's a loud scene.
But you know what? Maybe there isn't as much screaming as I thought there would be.
No.
I don't see a lot of mouths open, even
Hmm.
from the women. The mouths are closed. I think you mentioned earlier. Yeah, does anybody have their mouth open?
The horse. No. This
Maybe
guy.
just this person over here, but there's distress, there's anguish, but there isn't much yelling and screaming. Now, here's something that's kind of a difficult to see because I at first when I saw this, I thought this is just a reflection, or bad lighting.
Uh huh.
But do you see kind of the grayish bubbling stuff going on here?
Yeah. What is
Would
that?
you believe it if I said smoke?
Smoke. There's a fire.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I think we can see outside. I think we can see outside. I think this is the populace over here. There's something fiery going on outside as well. You can see maybe a little bit of the walls of the city and the tumult going on outside. It feels like it's kind of like caught in the smoke in a dream, but maybe that's a window leading outwards. But
Hmm.
there's smoke filling this room. All right.
Smoke. Interesting.
Are you ready for some background story?
Yes, please.
Okay, so you mentioned a king, and you mentioned the end for this king. So the painting is called The Death of Sardanapalus.
Yeah.
Sardanapalus. And Sardanapalus is an Assyrian king, kind of legendary, um, maybe historical, but he was really well known for being a hedonist. He loved luxury. He loved his harem. He loved his wine. He loved living for pleasure. And that made him a so-so ruler.
Hmm.
And I guess his vassals decided to rebel, and they would be ultimately successful in breaching the walls of the city of Nineveh, where he held his court. And rather rather than let his enemies have everything, rather than submit to his enemies, Sardanapalus decided to commit suicide. But not just in this scene, not just himself, but he got his soldiers to destroy everything that mattered to him in this life of pleasure that he had.
Hmm.
So to kill his concubines, to
So these are
kill
all his servants.
these are all his servants, these are all his women, these are all the participants of the luxury that he had,
Ah,
except for those that are doing the killing.
that's why he's not scared.
That's why he's not scared, because he's the one who gave the order
Right.
to cause all this carnage and to kill the horses too. I don't want my best horses to land in the hands of the enemies. I don't want to give them anything.
Mm.
And so this is the man not who's just apathetic about being overrun. He's worse, maybe. He's apathetic about having just destroyed everything voluntarily that belongs to him.
Right.
to massacre his own people, to massacre everything so that he doesn't have to suffer the humiliation of defeat.
He's quite a
The
bad guy.
smoke that's billowing,
Yeah.
it's apparently a fire that he set himself, because right now where he is his funeral pyre.
Huh.
So,
So how do
are
you
you ready
resonate?
to?
How do you resonate with this, Luke?
Yeah, that's the question. How do you personally connect to this? So, what's the situation? The situation
This
is
is
one where you have no way out. You know that what you value in your life is going to end imminently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I actually have a situation that
Go
I
for it.
can. One of the first jobs I've ever had was a guy was very annoying, like an old guy, that I helped him to do his newsletter um, and website. And at some point, I've had enough of this guy. So I told him, um, "You want me to keep working for you? So pay me this, like much more." And he was like, "No." So I said, "Okay, then we're done," and that's it. I walked out, and he was angry. I was angry. We had a lot of arguments, you know. So you like ending everything and walking away. He didn't walk away,
Yeah. Yeah. So there was
but
a decisive moment for you where, okay, it looks like it's it's a moment where my job here might end. And so I'm going to take some kind of action right now.
mm-hmm.
I'm going to give him an ultimatum and say, okay, give me a raise or not. And then when you don't get it, you take charge of the way that you're ending, and you're deciding, I'm walking out.
Yeah,
So where Sardanapalus says, I'm going to destroy everything that mattered to me so that it doesn't get into the hands of my enemies, you're saying, I'm quitting.
yeah, yeah.
Now, let's look at his face.
It's
Hey, it kind of looks like you a
interesting.
little bit. So what's his attitude? If you were to give him a quote, what would he be saying?
I would be saying, "To hell with it." What would you say, Luke?
I like that. There's the kind of apathy that you're talking about. He's got his hand on, kind of looking away, but his arm is pulled in. His left arm is pulled in, and maybe he's even making a fist kind of defiantly. Like, I'm I'm not going to let you guys have what I had.
Yeah.
This is my defiance. And the funny thing about his defiance is he's reclining in bed like he's probably done 100,000 times with each of the concubines. But now the reclining in bed is his death.
Yeah, I
So
think. Yeah.
I like that personal connection. And you know what I like about it is that it's the way to allow you to empathize as best you can with the character. And I really appreciate that. When I was thinking of situations, I was going especially towards movies where you have kind of the situation in apocalyptic or in horror movies
Hmm.
where you know that the creatures are going to get into the house. They're going
Hmm.
to get in and you're all going to die. And that's the moment where you've got to decide what it is that you're going to do. How are you going to face that
Yeah.
imminent destruction?
Yeah, at least there's choice. And which is, by the way, another thing about romantic paintings. They have choice involved. It's
You
his
know what?
own
He does.
actions.
He does. He does have a choice here.
he made it happen, right? He chose
He
this
made it
fate.
happen. He made something horrible happen.
Yeah, but that's his choice. At least he chose his own
Yeah.
fate, you know?
So the thing that strikes me, like you, is he's not wildly crying out, or he's not. I mean, he could done other things. He could have like been yelling out at the people that are outside, or he could be. We could be seeing him in the middle of stabbing himself
Mm.
or committing in the action of committing suicide for himself. But he's no. He's kind of soaking it in almost,
Yeah,
taking in
maybe
the
he's
horror that's around him.
enjoying it, and he
I
has
don't know if
one
he's
of the
enjoying it,
he has one
but
of the servants serving him wine whilst he's doing
that's
it.
true. That's true. But he's not in the middle of like, ha ha ha, yes, this is great. Let me enjoy the debauchery in the final party. No, he's not enjoying the final party.
The
This is not
final
like let's
part.
have sex at the end of the world. No. This is let's I'm contemplating at this moment the horror that is taking place now.
Perhaps he sees images of his past as his tenure as a king and
Yeah.
thinking about that. What could have gone differently?
So now um what's similar from this painting to the one of the horses fighting each other? The Arabians and the horses fighting each other.
Well, we have people fighting each other. We have death. That's similar. What else is similar? Luxury, prestige. Um, what
Sure.
else? We have people struggling. There's a struggle.
Yeah, yeah. This is you were thinking what would be Jacques Louis David's version of this? It might
It'll be
be,
it'll be after everybody's lying dead.
yeah. What would be Caspar David Friedrich's version of this?
It'll be far fewer people.
He'll be by himself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe looking out the window,
Perhaps perhaps the moment he's stabbing himself, that'll be
maybe the
maybe.
moment he's stabbing himself. Yeah.
But he wouldn't paint something like that.
So apparently, um, Delacroix was inspired by a play by Lord Byron.
Mm.
Sardanapalus was very popular, but in the play, spoiler alert for Sardanapalus by Lord Byron, there is not the whole harem and all his servants at the end.
No, that
It's
was.
no, he's just with his beloved, his favorite concubine at the end.
Oh.
And so it's a kind of more heroic ending of a story. In fact, in the play, the king is seen as kind of an idealist. Like he's all about have peace. Let's enjoy life
Right.
and not have petty squabbles and wars. And let me trust the people around me, and the people around him betray him, and his vision of a happy life on earth cannot be executed because everybody wants his power and so forth. And so at the end, he decides to martyr himself
Hmm.
by himself. So he comes across as more heroic. But
Right.
Delacroix, he saw this painting. He says, "You know what?" Or he saw he read the play and he said, "I want to change it up. I really like the legendary historical version where he has his whole harem massacred."
Yeah. Yeah. Delacroix prefer a more. He wanted him to go out in a big explosion.
Michael Bay.
Michael Bay. Yeah. Yeah. And it's
Okay.
there is a virtue in that where it's interesting. It's more interesting. So I appreciate
Well,
that.
is it more interesting? That's the question. I found this
It's
painting to be especially interesting because
yeah.
the other, yeah, a lot of his works are like, let's do the height of the action, and it's like movement and melodrama and explosions. And in this one, you got a character who is reflecting on what is happening
Yeah,
to them.
that adds another layer. That's right. Yeah. It adds another layer that we didn't have previously. That's right. Yeah. It
Yeah.
reminds me of a lot of Peter Bruegel, the Elder paintings, where you have similar scenes where people are doing all sorts of things to
Yeah.
each other. You can
And then
see
you
that.
have maybe a little key part of it that's like the drama of the scene, but it's kind of small, and the big vast orgy of destruction.
Yeah, yeah. He had that. He had these kinds of images, Bruegel.
All right.
So that could be an
What do you think of the
influence.
painting? Do you like it?
I wouldn't hang it on my wall, which is an interesting way I like to think about art. Would I hang it on my wall? I actually have a Jericho painting. I have the charging chasseur. You know that the is most famous, one of the most
I think
famous
so,
paintings.
yeah. A horseman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
another horseman. I really love that painting. But nah, this is a bit much.
So you mentioned earlier, Philadelphia has a version of this, the Philadelphia Museum of Art, but it's a small version.
Right.
And this particular version that I'm showing is the one that he painted for the salon, and it's huge. It's essentially life
Yeah,
size.
yeah. It's
At
massive.
the Louvre.
Yeah, it's a history painting. It's on the scale of a
So
history painting. Yeah.
yeah, it's vast, it's dramatic, it's intense, it's cinematic. Um, and when you
Yeah,
go into the Louvre and you see it,
that's one
it's
thing, as we said, to appreciate about Delacroix. He had a very cinematic approach. He had a very. There's a lot of integration here. This is one integrated mess, but it's all very meticulously selected. Everything is placed exactly where he thought will maximize the drama effect. So that horse on the left, and the elephant right across from it, right on the bed, it like you can see them kind of facing each other.
oh, I like that observation.
I think and you have the guy in the middle. I think that's very interesting. um, the woman covering her face, this woman like that, like a Jesus, but on her face. Um, there's a lot of
I'm sorry,
yeah,
I just noticed the um the toe rings on
yeah,
Sardanapalus. Did you
yeah.
that's how opulent he is. Every single toe has its own ring.
Yeah, that looks quite uncomfortable.
Oh, okay. The lap of luxury being the self-destructing lap of luxury. All right.
Yeah.
So, what's the spirit of Eugène Delacroix? If he were alive today, what
He
would he
would have.
say about life? What would he focus on in the world,
He would
in our
focus on the
world?
horrors. He would go and paint the horrors, the wars, the the bad things that happened. That's what was interesting to him, I think. But maybe he was that old. He would have wanted to sit and paint still lifes, probably. But yeah, if he was that age, he would probably go after the drama, as he did here. Um,
Yeah, I
I
could see him
think,
being like a war correspondent, yeah, going to Ukraine or going
yeah,
to Gaza or something like
yeah,
that. And
yeah. It would
yeah,
be very uncomfortable to watch these. When it's imaginary, from literature, is different thing. Anything from the chat we have? Any comments on Delacroix before we conclude?
yeah. Do you like Delacroix? Do you like the paintings? Do you is, and Jonathan, maybe you can answer this.
Mm,
Do you like Delacroix's sense of romanticism
mm.
more than Caspar David Friedrich's sense of romanticism?
Prefer prefer Friedrich because it's more metaphysical than I think Delacroix is more on an ethical level. He's more about um, showing you the bad sides of human nature, and Friedrich is about talking about what is human nature, what is reality. And I think that's the difference. So Delacroix would tell you, look, these people, these bourgeois people, they're evil. They're causing all this destruction. They only care about money. They have their people are always fighting. There's all this bad stuff happening, and showing you these horror scenes. And Friedrich was just about finding solace in the woods and thinking about life, thinking about what is our place in nature. Are we to conquer it, or are we to live by it harmoniously? Are we even supposed to walk here? Could we survive in this winter wilderness? It's a different type of conversation they're both having, but they're both having this conversation, which is what makes it great art, I think.
Wait, what do you mean they're both having this conversation? What's the
They're talking
conversation they're
about
having?
ideas. They're talking about great philosophical truths, what they thought. I think by showing you all these horror scenes,
Yeah.
Delacroix is implicitly showing his rather negative appraisal. I don't know. Again, I'm not a Delacroix expert. I don't know. Judging from just the painting, could be
Yeah,
wrong.
of course.
But this is talking about ethics. It also talks about uh, human nature in a sense, but it's more action. It's more about evaluating people's actions rather than evaluating what is man supposed to do in this world. What is his place here? What is man? Is man small, or
Yeah.
is he big?
I like the distinction you're making between Friedrich focusing on man's relationship to nature and the broader metaphysical world, whereas Delacroix is focusing on human nature and the violence and the absurdity and the dangers that are part of society.
Mm-hmm.
And they're focusing on two different aspects of existence. I'm wondering, I think for me, for Delacroix, there's a kind of I can't do much about it. I'm just going to kind of observe it. I'm a little bit like Sardanapalus here in this painting. He's just almost like letting everything happen around him that's horrific.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the sense I get from looking at other Delacroix paintings, and a little bit maybe the sense of the two, the Arabians fighting each other and the horses are kind of like it's happening.
It's a
And
bit
there's
overwhelming.
not, yeah, there's nothing nobody I'm rooting for. It's not a, General George Washington crossing the Delaware. No, it's just the violence is happening around me, and I'm gonna feel the suffering. And I think that's thinking about Delacroix and doing this with you has made me think more of like, wow, um, I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of Delacroix.
Okay,
Can I end on my end with a recommendation?
please.
So my first bonding with Delacroix actually came in a movie where Delacroix is a character, and it was a very sympathetic character in this movie, and he he comes across as charming, and he sees a dead horse and he goes over and he paints the dead horse, and he's showing off this painting of this woman being eaten by a tiger, and bonds with his good friend the author Georges Sand. And it's a delightful love story, believe it or not. Delacroix is the side character, but it captures, I think, one of the things that I love about this time period, the romanticism of the early 19th century, is this desire for intense feeling. And the movie is a love story between Chopin, Frederic Chopin, the romanticist piano player who's also a good friend of Delacroix, and George Sand, the Romantic author, who was herself very driven by emotions, very much in love, loved Delacroix's paintings, apparently. And it's a romantic comedy. And it might be my favorite period movie ever. It's called Impromptu. So I think I never really feel the horror though with Delacroix. I think the colors kind of make it take it away. When I want to go to something really horrific and
John Martin.
contemplating really cynically, what's that?
John Martin.
No, even worse than that.
Yeah.
Francisco Goya.
Goya. Yeah.
That's if I
Yeah.
really want to take in. Here it still feels like
Yeah. Yeah.
almost slightly cartoony, slightly like it's very colorful. There's a lot of interest in that
Right. Right.
golden
Right.
neck bracelets and the headgear of the horse.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
I really like what you said, and thank you for the movie recommendation. Impromptu, you said?
Yeah.
Impromptu.
With Hugh
Um,
Grant as Frederick Chopin.
I think it's important to stress that we have to view this also in relation to what is reacting against. Fundamentally, I think it's a reactionary movement against those classicists, against those who thought that everything has to be perfect, it has to be static, it has to be like Greek statues. Everything has to be so, and it's not true. Greek statues were moving, but they thought their view of Greece was that everything is like perfect, and that's why they focus on the horrors. They focus on the movement. They wanted to accentuate that to show these classicists that it can be done otherwise. So I think it's an important thing to consider. But yeah, I agree with you. It can be a bit much, and but Goya is a good example of somebody who developed this not that long after Delacroix, who was also considered a romantic. So perhaps we should do an episode on Goya.
All right, Jonathan, this was a lot of
All right,
fun.
all
And
right.
thank you for
Just
the opportunity
thank
to
you,
spend
Luke,
time with
very
Delacroix.
much. It's been a pleasure, and I would like to thank uh, the viewers who joined. They've not participated as much as last time, but hopefully next time we'll fix that. Luke has a website. You should go check it out. I put it in the description, touchingtheart.com. He has a wonderful book that you should all check out, definitely. It includes readings of many great works of art. How many paintings do you have there, Luke? Do you remember? It's
So in Stories and Paint, there are 50.
15, 15,
Mhm.
50.
50,
50,
50.
50 paintings. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot of paintings with Luke's detailed readings of them. I highly, highly recommend it.
And
Yeah,
then go check out Jonathan's weekly essays on art. If you are interested in art history or are understanding more what the philosophical motivations are for artists, go check his work out. I think he has a big essay that he just published that
yes.
on why you should enjoy art, why you should get into art. So check that out. And where
Thank
is
you,
that,
Luke.
Jonathan?
It's philosophyIneeded.com. The link is also in the description. Okay, so thank you very much. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend and see you in the next one. Bye bye.